Heffas. So, y'all, this is technically my day 3 here at Magic Kingdom in a row. I came here for Walk and Talk Wednesday. I was with you all yesterday trying to get to Tom Sawyer Island, and y'all, as you saw, we had to exit out of the queue. We were hoping that we'd be able to come back online, and it just wasn't possible. The weather did not let up. As a matter of fact, it got worse. So, y'all, it is officially, at the time of me recording this, July 4th. It is busy, baby, here at Magic Kingdom today, unlike how it looked Wednesday and certainly Thursday. Granted, I'm here much earlier in the day. And y'all, I am just hoping, because again, it's supposed to be a lot of severe thunderstorms starting at around, like, I'd say a little bit after lunch, so early afternoon. So my co-producer and I are here, and I'm like, we're just gonna go ahead and go straight to Tom Sawyer Island, because not only did Tom Sawyer Island basically shut down for us today due to the lightning, also what ended up happening was that the riverboat shut down, and as well as a whole host of other rides. And neither Tom Sawyer nor did the riverboat come back online. There were the other rides that did eventually as the evening wore on. So y'all, we're here. This tells you the dedication to my craft, because I'm like, I cannot leave you all hanging. We're passing by Cinderella's Castle right now, and we're just making that beeline over to Tom Sawyer's Island, which, when we checked on the way in, only a 5-minute wait. And y'all, this weather is kind of derailing my plans a little bit, because initially,
normally yes, but not really,
my co-producer and I were thinking about maybe taking a little bit of a overnight trip to potentially Miami. But because I was very concerned about the weather, he was concerned. We're like, you know what, let's just stay in, because y'all, how am I gonna give you advice and not take my own advice? That would be crazy. And for me, when I start seeing that it's going to be potential lightning and rain, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is pay to go somewhere, or even staying at a resort here, and it's raining and you can't really take advantage of the pool and the amenities, or if a lot of the activities you're doing are outside, it's just not going to be as enjoyable. So I'm happy we made that decision to just like stay local, hyper local. And we're just gonna go ahead, because y'all, this is it for me. This is the last jaunt I'm going to have, both on the riverboat and on Tom Sawyer's Island. So we're passing through right now, and I'm going to check back in with you all as soon as we get a little bit closer, because you see how the weather is looking, and I am nervous. And I also feel a little bit bad, because when we decided, like, you know, we're just going to stay here, we're going to stay local, we talked about potentially going to one of the water parks. But of course, since I had to come back out here today, and because it's now supposed to rain for pretty much the rest of the day, starting at around like 1 o'clock, more or less, I don't even know if that's going to happen. And it's been so hot. And we added this perk to our pass holder renewal to also include the water parks. So, and we haven't been to the water parks at all this year. Last year, I think we went like 3 times. So, y'all, I don't even know if I'm going to make it to the water park today. So I'm just going to focus on Tom Sawyer Island. And fortunately for me, I have some time off. So there is going to be some time to go to the water park, but I just feel a little bit bad because my sister has the day off, and she rarely ever has time off. And, you know, she's chilling at home. So don't cry for me, Argentina. She was like, heck no, I'm not going out there with y'all. But, you know, it's like when you make these plans and you have to switch them up when, you know, the unexpected happens. So we are now circling around Liberty Square. We're over in the Frontierland, and we are making our way through the crowds over to Tom Sawyer Island. Yesterday, what was also really cool is that we had our friends, the Country Bears, out. And I think Clarabelle was out too, which is not normal that you see her. And they were doing their little jigs out here in front of Country Bear Magical Jamboree. I don't see them out yet, but it is so much earlier in the day, and I'm sure because it is July 4th holiday here in the US that there are going to be a lot of characters. Speaking of which, there's one of the Country Bears right now. So yeah, they're gonna have a lot of character meet and greets. And I also saw there were some photos. You have Mickey and Goofy dressed up in their, I would say like revolutionary time period uniforms, which is cute. But y'all, we're not here to take photos with Mickey. We're here, we're on business, okay? We're on business right now. And we are trying to make it over because I am so terrified that it's going to start lightning at any moment. Because you all see I'm not exaggerating. Like, it just looks like the clouds are gonna open up at any moment now. So we're gonna make that beeline over, and hopefully we'll be able to make our way to Tom Sawyer. And if the weights were really low today, y'all, I would try to get on Tiana's Bayou Adventure because it is hot, hot, hot. I just want to jump in that river right now, honestly. It's so hot out here. But the wait time for Tiana is close to an hour, and I don't think we're gonna have time for that today, but it's all good. Friends, this is what the outside of Tom Sawyer Island is giving on July 4th. And we have our Bayou Band over across the way outside of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And we're gonna go ahead and get in line here. All right, part 2 of getting on to Tom Sawyer Island.
We could go stand in this truck.
Friends, I think we're actually loading up now, and you can see folks coming back from the island. Here's our raft boat right here, so we're gonna go ahead and jump on in and head over to Tom Sawyer. Friends, we have successfully made it on. We are certainly at packed like sardines. But here's a little bit of the view. You'll see the riverboat across the way, and hopefully we'll get some good shots from the island.
You know what's funny? They are actually in fight.
Y'all, with the weather being the way it is, I want to give a huge shout out to the cast members who are working in the summer, and especially during the holidays. It cannot be easy. It is so hot, even though there's a lot of overcast right now and it's cloudy.
What?
It is burning up. And also shout out to the cast members who are actually in costume, and especially when you're dressed in like the Country Bear costumes or something that requires like full head to toe covering. In this heat, it cannot be easy. So shout out to you all. You've always had my utmost respect, especially this time of year, because baby, I would need to pack all sorts of fans. I was just telling my co-producer, I'm like, I should have brought my Cowboy Carter fan out here. I completely missed that opportunity. Or even my handheld fan. Y'all, I have all sorts of things, cooling cloths, things that I always constantly forget because I just get into a mode where I'm like trying to come out here. So yeah, it's gonna be more shaded on the island, and especially when we start going through the caves and some of the other nooks and crannies, it'll be much cooler, hopefully. Friends, we are disembarking. All right, island explorers, who's ready to go and do a little bit of caving? I know I am because my face is melting. So we're actually gonna head to the caves first, And then we'll make our way over to the fort area. And I'll show you all some views of Big Thunder Mountain, which is currently down for refurbishment right now as they're working on replacing the track, making some updates to it. It's coming along, but there's still some things that they are trying to work out. You can see the cave entrance here. Y'all, when I first came in here doing my walk and talk, I was so nervous. Thank you, co-producer. Ooh, and it still makes me nervous now. And it looks more lit on camera than it actually is, y'all. It is so dark down here, and I'm nervous. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this is the closest to caving that you're ever gonna get me. I'm like moving like I'm 90 years old because y'all, I said this in my live stream, Disney's like, you can't come for us, baby, if you fall. This is at your own risk. But I'm actually surprised there's not more people in here, y'all. It's so much cooler, but it feels a little bit treacherous walking through here. But check this out. And then you have over here little mini waterfall and some, you know, gems that I'm sure our friends at Seven Dwarfs would try to come over here and get if they could. All right, we're going to continue exploring. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this is so cool. I don't know what has possessed me, but I started watching a lot of like caving incidences, not because your girl's about to go caving, but y'all, after watching and hearing the horror stories, I feel like this is the closest to a caving experience you're ever gonna get me on this day. This and maybe Ruby Falls, located in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay, y'all, we got cave one down. We're gonna go check out some more views of the island and nab another cave, but that is exactly what I needed because it is so nice and cool and chilly. Just outside of the first cave we ventured through, we have the beautiful windmill. And again, it's so crazy to think that this is all going to be shutting down. And that this is only like the second time I'm actually walking through this. And I've been here in Florida now for like 2 years. So it's a little crazy, missed opportunities, but better late than never. And as we make our way around, you'll see an old defunct mill, Harper's Mill to be more specific, right here. We'll take a peek and see what that looks like on the inside. And we see our friend up there, the owl. What's up, owl? He's like, girl, mind your business and get out of here. Touche. I wish the mill was actually going because it'd be kind of cool to see these gears going. But yeah, just gives you a nice little snapshot in the world of Tom Sawyer. And y'all, you see the riverboat across the way, the Haunted Mansion, Cinderella's Castle, but you get a really beautiful view of Liberty Square and Frontierland. And let's go in for a closer view of the boat. And it's so crazy to see views that we have seen on the boat before, like the Huck and Tom Hart Becky, and the partially painted fence, that little detail. And it's going to be so interesting to see how this looks once this all turns into the Cars Land attraction. As a part of our experience, we will be going on the riverboat. So never fear, we'll be taking one more jaunt around the island from the boat. And we have this really great view of the Haunted Mansion and the Crooked Barrel Bridge. Y'all, can you imagine if you could actually walk across this thing? It looks so rickety in all the best ways possible. But I love the details. And my co-producer was pointing this out. And he's absolutely right. I am shocked that this is not more busy. And I expect the last day, because you know a lot of people like coming to these attractions the day of closing, that it's not busier. And it just goes to show you why, like Disney, even though I know that there are some loyalists who hate to see things like this go, but why they make these changes, right, y'all? Because if people are not actually in the attraction and it's not heavily attended, then y'all, like with anything else, it's going to change, right? Look at this rickety bridge. Okay, so we're gonna walk across here as we continue our adventure through the island without breaking our necks. Oh, excuse us.
Watch where you're going.
No worries. All right, we made it through. And we are on the other side of the Barrel Bridge. We're making our way over to cave number 2 before we head over to the fort. Let's head up these stairs, y'all. And here's the view from the top of the stairs. Y'all, as we're making our way through to the second cave, they've actually closed off the walking bridge over to the fort section. So I actually don't know that we're gonna be able to see that today, and I'm not sure why, but we'll see as we get closer what the deal is. If we're not able to make it over to the fort, I would just encourage you to check out my footage of my last walk and talk, because we went all through that area. And for my map enthusiast, here is a view of the entire island and how to get around it. Here is a frontal view of the windmill, and we are making our way around trying to find the entrance to that second cave, which should be around here.
The island is closed. Please head over to Tom's Landing. Yes.
Friends, I tried. The island is closing because of lightning in the area, so you all got a chance to get a little bit of a view. I don't know that we're gonna try to come back out, because literally it's gonna be like this for the rest of the weekend in terms of really bad weather. So it's a bummer, but I was able to capture some footage to my walk and talk live stream, so check that out. If you want to see more footage, maybe we'll try to get on the riverboat, but if they're closing down the island, they're going to be closing down the riverboat too. So You all know when we experience these woes and unexpected, we need a little bit pick me up. Let's go get some Java and let's debrief. Before we go get our Java, friends, we're actually going to make a beeline over to the riverboat because, as I was saying earlier in the video, that if there's lightning in the area, they're also going to shut the riverboat down too. So let's see if we can get one more ride on. And then y'all, I think that that's going to conclude our journey. We're going to get some Java. We're going to debrief and catch up on final thoughts about Tom Sawyer's Island shutting down. All right, friends, hopefully we'll be able to make it over on the next ride since the riverboat has completed her cycle around the block. We're going to quickly see if we can hop on this next turn around the rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island. All right, let's go ahead and load. Friends, we have made it on, and you could see the view basically of some of our final shots that we were just at when we were on the island. Now, y'all, I'm not going to talk too much, so I'm going to get that music queued up, and I hope you enjoy our last journey here on the riverboat together. I hope you enjoyed a lot of the footage that we took while we're on the riverboat. I tried to go on different levels just to give you a few different angles. And of course, you can check out my last live stream, my Walk and Talk Wednesday, where we did a full rotation around the riverboat, as well as one of my earliest YouTube videos was actually eating at the Liberty Square or Liberty Tree Tavern, then getting on the riverboat. So thankfully for us, we have a lot of footage on the riverboat. What I don't have as much footage of is Tom Sawyer's Island, but you know, y'all, sometimes things happen. And speaking of them closing things down, y'all, we just went on the final ride for probably the next hour or so until the weather lets up a little bit on the boat. So I'm so thankful that we just went ahead, instead of hanging our heads in defeat, which sometimes that happens where you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so bummed, I'm so disappointed. And y'all, I had a hankering for some Java, but I'm like, let's just go ahead and make a beeline to that riverboat, because if they've already shut this down, everything else is going to just like fall like dominoes. And lo and behold, a lot of the rides are down right now just because of the weather. So y'all, you know what we're gonna do next? I am actually this time going to go get some Java. Well, I don't know whether I want a Java or a refresher. Y'all, my face feels like it is melting. And I know that I have said this before in a lot of my other videos. I'm gonna say it again, girly pop, do not come over here spending a day at the Disney parks wearing a full face of makeup. Put on some nice SPF, get your little moisturizer on, and call it a day, because it is just gonna melt right off you. I, once again, lo and behold, forgot to bring like some type of like cooling cloth or blotting cloth. So y'all, my face is just like, it feels like it's running right now. So we are going to walk back toward the front of the park, grab some refreshments at Starbucks, and head on out.
We might be here for like an hour plus, assuming.
Friends, we have made it into Starbucks. Y'all, I am just thankful to be in an air-conditioned room. I'm trying to figure out what it is I want to get, because I definitely want to get a refresher, but I think I may get like a doppio espresso, or maybe just get like a tall ice something. Y'all, your girl, this is like a double fisting moment right now. I feel very parched and hot, and it's like I want my coffee, but I also want something that's like super like refreshing. So, you know, we'll see what I end up getting. But this is what it's looking like here in Starbucks right now. And hopefully we'll be able to make it back to our vehicle before it really starts coming down. Heffas, we have made it out of Starbucks, located basically on Main Street within the Magic Kingdom. I was gonna get the Java, but y'all, you hear that thunder, right? Heffas, we don't play. I'm like, let's just go ahead and go. Let's just get out of here. But I ended up going for a refresher because I'm like, I need something hydrating right now. You best believe I'm going to get a Java as soon as I get home. Maybe try something from Blue Bottle, which if you happen to miss my most recent video where I did a luggage haul reviewing luggage from Away, Noble and Monos, check that out. I also tried some Blue Bottle instant coffee, which was so delicious. So that is what I'm probably gonna be making as soon as I get home. But y'all, I want to share my thoughts a little bit. And before we get into that, cheers, Heffas. Happy July 4th out there to all of you all located in the US. And like my age-old question is, drop down in the comments, are you barbecuing? What are you doing? Are you resting? If you're barbecuing, who's responsible for the mac and cheese, baby? Who's responsible for the baked beans? I need to know. And if there are any horror stories that pop up because you trusted your cousin's girlfriend and she done put raisins in the potato salad and pissed everybody off, let me know. Drop down in the comments and tell me how you're spending your July 4th holiday weekend. And y'all, I will say, I really wanted, and although I don't see myself as being a full-fledged theme park vlogger, Disney's just part of the journey as well as Universal because of where I live. So it's easy for me to get here. It's right in my backyard. And when there are attractions that are closing depending on the attraction, I want to take you all with me along the ride, right? It's all a part of the journey. And I have to say, with this being like the third day in a row, and y'all know Magic Kingdom is actually my least favorite park because it's just the most crowded, it's the most busy. And to me, fighting words, it is a second-rate Disneyland. knock off. I'm sorry. I said what I said. I said what I said. Don't come for me unless you have a check for me, baby. But with our attempts to do as much filming as we can on Tom Sawyer, it's just been so annoying. And I have to say, I get it. But you know, when there's lightning in the area, it's not just Tom Sawyer Island that shuts down. It's a lot of attractions that shut down. But that one is very sensitive. And I get it. You all saw some of the footage of what it looks like. And check out my live stream, like I said. I don't know, y'all. It closes here in the next couple of days. So by the time you all see this, it's already going to be shut down. We'll see if I come back out here. I think I'm pretty much done. Because it's supposed to be severe thunderstorms pretty much for the rest of the week here. And things are always subject to change during hurricane season. The wind pattern changes. But for those of you all that are coming out here to Disney during hurricane season, baby, stay ready so you never have to get ready. Make sure you have a good poncho. Y'all, don't be getting your ponchos from Family Dollar. There's nothing wrong with the Family Dollar. But there are certain items like that I would say splurge a little bit more on if you can. Get a good poncho. My sister, y'all, she hooked me up with her poncho yesterday. And it has a zipper and it had a pocket. And it was nice and I didn't get wet. And if you get the really cheap ponchos, your skin is not going to protect you really well, honestly. So get something that's good because when it rains here. It's not like the Pacific Northwest where it's like a little drizzle. It really pours. And y'all, we're making our way over to the monorail right now just to give you a view. So protect yourself accordingly. Wear your sunscreen. Don't come out here trying to do it up, be cute with all the concealers and things. It is going to melt off your face. Y'all, try some really good, like I like using the tinted SPF. I love tinted. Shout out to your girl if you ever want me to do a review, but I love tinted, y'all. And one other actually brand that I want to try, Supergoop is also really great with their SPF moisturizers and sunscreens. I want to try the Fenty Beauty, so I'll let you all know if I do ever try that one out. But you want something like that that's going to give you some coverage as well as protect your face from the UV rays. So that way you get the best of both worlds. You'll feel like you're wearing makeup without wearing the heavy makeup. So y'all, with that being said, I'm about to run maybe a couple more errands. And just chill out. I may try to play some video games, okay? Maybe with my co-producer sister, we'll see. If I'm able to get that started, I will let you all know. And then I'm going to take just a breather and just relax the rest of the evening. So with that being said, y'all, I hope you have a good one. Stay safe out there. Try to stay cool. And I will catch you on the next journey. Bye.
A few moments later.
Babes, I'm going to splice this in. I just realized as I wrapped up my video, I didn't even really talk about my overall thoughts about Tom Sawyer Island. So I will tell you, I think it's a quaint, cute experience. I'm actually really surprised that a lot more people don't go on the island because there's a lot of really great cooler pockets that you can certainly like dive into, like the caves, and it's, though not completely air conditioned, it's much cooler. And I thought that was really awesome about the island. I also like the vibe that it gives you, the sense that you truly are in the frontier, right? You're exploring, you're getting a chance to see an entirely different part of the park and something that's a little bit different. So it is an attraction I think that will be a must one. What did you think about Tom Sawyer Island? Also the Liberty Bell, the boat, and I think I've called it the Mark Twain. I think the Mark Twain is what the riverboat is called at Disneyland. But I will say that I think also it's just a lot of fun. It's something that is going to totally be missed. And it's just a cool experience, right? So both the attractions are certainly a lot of fun. They're good. Less the riverboat, but more the island. I mean, you all saw that it wasn't really crowded, so I could totally see why they're like, we're going to evolve it. And that's just the thing with Disney. Like some of the things that we love, that's a part of a lot of the parks, will change out over time, especially as the crowds start to thin out and fade. And if they're seeing that an attraction is not getting that consistent love, that it should be getting, then it probably needs to change, right, to attract more people. So I definitely think it's something that I'm going to miss. But going back to my comment about me not being this, like, I don't consider myself to be exclusive to the theme parks. I like being able to capture experiences at Disney and at Universal, but especially things that are going to close that I think are things that I would even love to do. I wish that I had gotten to, if I really was paying attention, I really wish I'd made my way over to Tom Sawyer Island, like even done a few more walk and talks over there. I just didn't really know what to expect, and it was never something that was top of mind. I actually kind of forgot about it. I would notice it the few times I would get on the riverboat, but other than that, I really didn't think that there was as much to do on the island that you can do. So, you know, I totally get them changing it out, but I had a great time. What did you think? Drop down in the comments. Let me know. Truly, this is me signing off. I'm going to continue to enjoy my mango dragon fruit refresher made with water, not lemonade. Y'all, I try it out. It is so good. My sister likes to get hers with boba. So I may end up buying another one of these on my drive home because I am that thirsty. And I just love the little touches. They put a little smiley face. That's truly cute. All is not lost in the world. Sometimes it's touches like that. I know it seems super hokey, that it just, you know, puts a little smile on your face. So though I'm a bit bummed that we weren't able to get as much footage as I want, I am thankful that I had the time to come on out, hang out with you all, and just have a good time. So with that being said, really and truly, I hope you all have a great rest of your July 4th holiday weekend if you're located here in the U.S. And hey, if you are joining me in from another country outside the U.S., I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.
A few moments later.
I know y'all are like, Heffa, you keep trying to sign off. Y'all, I also want to make a couple other really good points. So there was someone on the monorail who actually engaged in a conversation with my co-producer and I after I signed off with you all, and she actually had some solid points. So you all know I am all about inclusivity here as much as I can be, and I like actually hearing people's thoughts and perspectives on things, even if it's something that I may agree or disagree with. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a conversation as long as it's respectful, right? But this woman made a very solid point about, you know, Tom Sawyer Island, like just sharing her thoughts about the closure. And she was like, you know, it's not ADA compliant. And for those of you all, especially those of you who live outside the US, you may be like, what is ADA? So ADA is the American with Disabilities Act. And it is a law that certain places, like let's just say Disney, Universal, structures have to be compliant enough to allow people with disabilities to be able to also equally get around safely and access the same experience, the same benefits, features, etc., right, within buildings. So there has to be, for example, ramps for wheelchairs, right? There needs to be enough spaces for people to go through. That's an example. And she was like, you know, Tom Sawyer's Island is not very ADA compliant. And my co-producer and I were like, oh my gosh, it's actually a solid point. And that's not even something that came to the top of my mind when we're talking about the rationale for the island closing. Because for me, I'm just like, oh, it's an evolution of Disney. And I think there is something to be said that a lot of people don't actually, when you look at the crowds, right, the number of people that go on the island, when you compare it to, let's just say, Spaceship Mountain, we can compare it to even, heck, the Country Bears. I think that's part of the reason why they also refurbish that, right? So they're going to look at the crowds in attendance, and if that's not there, they're going to change it out. And I'm talking to y'all as we are about to board the transit to get back to our car. But I thought that was such a good point. And there was an incident with the black bear being near the island, which I didn't even know about that, but it was in the news. This happened like a couple of years back. So y'all, there are a ton of reasons. And I think when I think of like the inclusivity piece, and it's so easy when you're not in someone's situation and you don't have to deal with those kind of struggles to kind of forget things like that. So I'm always happy when people are like, well, here are these other points too. And I'm like, those are very solid call outs. So yeah, just wanted to throw that added perspective in the mix for just additional perspective about the closure of Tom Sawyer's Island.